Okay, can you see my screen now and can you hear me? I think that it's working now. Don't you just love technology? Fantastic. So welcome everyone. I see that a few folks are on the chat. So I am watching you guys. Where is everyone coming in from? I'm still waiting for the messages to come in. There's a little bit of a delay. I see New Jersey is in the house. You know, I'm originally from New York City, so not too far. But I am now in North Carolina. Anyone else? You can use the chat in order to put your message through. All right, New York City, I see it. So does everyone have their workbooks? I did put the link above, but I will add it again. Did anyone take a chance to, in the meantime, if you haven't done it, you guys can start writing page 1. This is very important so that you have a focus of what you are going to be working on today. And we will be diving a bit. And at the end, we will have Q&A where you guys can ask your questions and I will do my very best to answer them. I know that someone had trouble printing out their workbook, but if you do not have your workbook, it's okay. We're going to go through the questions and you guys can just use a notebook to take notes because I'm going to throw a lot of information at you today. So if we are ready to get going, just let me know in the chat. And if you're shy, that's okay. Don't worry about it. All right. I guess that we can get started. So this webinar, thank you so much for coming in here. I appreciate that you have taken time out of your schedule to hang out with me and so that we can enhance our spiritual journeys together. This webinar is how to transform yourself from a newbie, from an alejo, from a newbie to an empowered Orisa follower in 10 steps. With me, I am Iya Omileti Olubumi. So who am I? Iya Omileti Olubumi, yes. I started out in these traditions when I was introduced when I was 16. I'm a lot older now. And I didn't get quite serious until I was about maybe 19 or 20. And that's when I decided, this is where I want to be. I don't think my parents were Seventh-day Adventists, and that didn't work out for me very well. So I decided that I was going to be a little more proactive in my spirituality, and I wanted to be here with Orisa, but Orisa is so broad. I had like a million questions. And to make a long story short, I was in Alejo for a good 10 to 12 years. I became an Aborisha somewhere in between it, but I always called myself a professional Alejo because I had no godparents. I had nobody. It was me. At that point, I was a single mom, and it was really, really hard to get through. I got initiated almost 7 years ago into the Orisha mysteries, among other things, but we're just going to focus on Orisha. And this is what I have been here. Oh, for the person who can't find the webinar, who just sent a message, all you have to do is click on the YouTube video above, and it should already be there. It will start streaming onto the page. Okay, click on the YouTube video above, and you should be on. Okay. So then I became an Orisha priestess, and it's been quite a journey for me. And I will talk a little bit about how I got started. So let me ask you, does this sound like you? And you are welcome to write your yes or your no on the chat itself. You're not sure which priest to trust. I think this one is a biggie. Or how about this? You have no idea where to start. How about this? Does this sound like you? You're part of 200 online groups and you still feel disconnected. You want to know what to do to find a spiritual house. It's like you've been searching and you just cannot find. Does this sound like you? If any of those questions resonate with you, then you are in the right place. So today we're going to cover 10 steps and strategies to become empowered, to be very, very confident, even by being a newbie. And we're going to go through all of the 10 steps. So what you're going to learn today, we're going to learn about expectations. We're going to learn about traditions. We're not going to learn about spells, but we are going to learn about traditions. We're going to talk about different lineages. We're going to talk about types of readings and your ancestral foundation. On that one, when we hit that point, it's going to be a very big one, because something before you even do that, you're going to have to do in order to connect. We're going to talk about the ancestral shrine. I should have put an S in there because there's kind of two types. And we're going to talk about worship color. We're going to talk about responsible priests, religious events, and advice for choosing a godparent and a house. So where it all began, for those of you who are in New York or have been to the city, you may have heard of the Julia de Burgos Community Center. It's in East Harlem. I don't remember. I think it's like in 106th Street in Lexington. And I'm going to tell you how it all started. This was one of the first events that I attended. It was a drumming. And when I went to this drumming, I was in Alejo. I went by myself because the person who told me about the drumming, unfortunately, was not able to attend. Okay, hold on a second. I want to make sure that you guys can view this. Okay. And I went there, you know, dressed in my whites, and it was just, okay. All right, hold on a second. I want to make sure. I want to ask everyone, can you see my screen? Are you guys able to see my screen? Because it says that I'm sharing, but I want to make sure that you guys are able to see it. You guys can let me know in the chat. All right, hold on a second. I'm going to try doing something to see if this will fix this issue. Share. Okay. Are you able to see my screen? Ah, I think the screen is there. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to go back really quick because you guys missed all of those other slides. So I'm going to go back. Oops, sorry. So basically, I wanted to find out where you guys were, and I wanted to know if you guys have no idea where to start, if this sounds like you, or if you're part of like a bunch of groups online and you're still disconnected. If you want to, like, you want to know what it is to be part of a spiritual house, and if so, then you're in the right place. I'm kind of glad because now you're able to see my screen. This is great. And we're going to discuss the 10 steps. Now today, so that you guys can see it, you're going to learn about the expectations, the traditions, not spells, the different lineages, the types of readings, your ancestral foundation, and we're going to cover a key point there, like I mentioned. We're going to talk about the ancestral shrine, worship color. We're going to be able to recognize responsible priests. We're going to talk about religious events, and I'm going to have some advice for you choosing a godparent in a house. I think that is going to be a great piece of information. Okay. All right. So going back where this all began. So in New York City, there's this community center. It used to be a public school, from what I understand. It's called the Julia de Burgos Community Center. And it's in East Harlem on Lexington Avenue and 106th Street. This place is great. They have a lot of community and cultural events. It's a fantastic place. And in our traditions, sometimes the place is rented out, one of its spaces, in order to have drummings. So somebody told me about the drumming, and I was so excited. I said, you know, I'm going to go, but I had no godparents. So I went by myself. My friend was not going to be able to come with me. And I dressed up in white because I know everybody dresses in white. So I had to do the same. And I went by myself. It started filling up really, really quickly. And I remember, oh gosh, this was a really long time ago. It started getting crowded, and I don't know what was going on. I found out later. Yeah, I definitely found out later. And they said, oh, you stand over there. So I stood where they pointed. What happened next, it was pretty shocking. Something was happening. I had no idea what was happening. And somebody who I found out later on was a priest basically was in my face and asked me, do you have Ocha? And I was scared. And I just kind of nodded and said, no. You're not supposed to be standing here. How don't you know that you're not supposed to be standing next to the drums? And I freaked out. There were like 60 people there. It was really crowded. Honestly, I wanted the universe and the earth to open so that I could jump in. It was so embarrassing for me. I was absolutely humiliated. I think there may have been some spit involved, and it was awful. I was not in a happy place. So I basically kind of walked to the back of the room. There were some chairs there, basically with my tail between my legs. And I was so embarrassed that I couldn't even walk out the door. And there was this lady who was there. She had this huge headdress. She was dressed in blue, tall, dark-skinned, thin lady. And I thought she was going to comfort me because she leaned over to me and she told me something that changed my life. She said, sometimes people's heads are bigger than their crowns. And I didn't understand what that meant at all. It took me a long time to get that figured out. And then after that, last year, I think it was, we were all at an event in our Egbe, in our spiritual house. And then we, after the event, all the priests gathered, we're all trying to rest it up after all the hard work, and we all started to talk. And the conversation was what I wish I would have known before I made Ocha. Oh my God, all the stuff started pouring out. And then what happened after that is that I became obsessed. I became absolutely obsessed because I am married to an elder priest. And over the years that I have been married to him, it's been over a decade, we have seen so many people walk in through our doors because they have made so many mistakes that now they have to be fixed. So I became obsessed because I don't want people to have to go through those things if it is not necessary that they go through them. So you could read the little thing. It says obsessions are the only things that matter. I really feel that I want to help the brand new person understand that just because you don't have OCHA does not mean that you are insignificant. You're a human being and you are important. And I want you to know that. You just have to know what to look for so that you can make the right choices. All right? All right. So what are they saying? Here are some things that you guys can read on your own of what people who have worked with us have said about how we have helped them. See, in our Egbe, we work with not only Lukumi, but also Isheshe. And our goal is to help others find their way. It doesn't have to be my way. It doesn't have to be my brother's way. It just has to be their way where they really need to go. So I want to tell you all something, and I'm very excited about that. I want you to stay until the end, especially if you do not have godparents, because I'm going to give away something that I give away as, to some of our community. It's called the Getting to Know You. This is a document that you can print and begin to tailor so that you know what questions to ask when you are considering someone to be your godmother or your godfather in these traditions. Sometimes we're so excited and we're so exuberant that we just want to jump in with the first person who wants to put ilekes around us, and we do not make the right choices. So I have created this, which took me a really long time, asking a lot of priests to figure out what are the best questions that we should have asked in the beginning before we made the blunders that we did in the very beginning. So stay until the end because I will be able to give you guys a way to get this absolutely free. You guys can just print it and use it, and definitely email me if you do get a chance to use it or when you get a chance to use it to let me know how it works out for you, because it'll be a lot better than, I'm going to do this for you. Yeah, okay. And then 10 years down the road, it doesn't quite work out. There could have been some things that you wish you would have known beforehand. So stay until the end. All right. Are you ready to start on this journey? So if you are, just type in the chat box, I am ready. All right, I know there's like a little bit of a delay, so I have to wait to see the chat box. So who is ready? Or maybe folks don't want to type in the chat box today. But definitely use the chat box. This is a good way for us to communicate. break. I see some folks are already ready. All right, so let's move on. So for you guys, if you have your workbook, we are going to get started. So make sure you have them out. If you didn't get a chance to write on page 1, take the time to do that. It doesn't have to be done right now because we're going to focus on the webinar, but whenever you get a chance, write down what your goals are. You're going to find out why that is important when we hit one of the steps. Step number 1. So in your workbook, you will see the Orisa traditions are not an overnight thing. They're not. I know. I am very sorry. I wish I could tell you that they are, but they're not. And you must be like, but I'm ready right now. I want to do this. But what we're going to do is that we're going to start from the beginning, okay? No matter how hard you try, you cannot get initiated next month if you're just starting out. It's very difficult. There are a lot of things that have to happen along the way. There's the process. There's a lot of steps. And we're going to talk about maybe some of them as we're going through them. But it's just, I want you to have this as an expectation. Number 2, these are traditions. They are a way of life. So it's a little more complicated than just religion. Religion, sometimes people separate it. I'll tell you a funny story. So when I was young, I asked somebody, oh, because you're a Catholic. See, I wasn't Catholic. So I was very intrigued by the candles and all the things. Like I was very intrigued. And she says, well, we could smoke cigarettes. We just can't do anything bad. And then if you do something bad, you just kind of go to the priest and they absolve you of all your mistakes. So the Yoruba traditions, the Orisha traditions are much more than a religion. A lot of things that we do, because Orishas are energies of nature, we literally are in touch with Orisha every day. Because our ancestors are always there and they have passed before us, they are always there. So now what we have to figure out is how to weave everything together so that our regular life, everything that we do on a day-to-day, it kind of goes together. All right. These traditions are not, and this is, I think, the third one. Yes, it is the third one on page 2. These traditions are not a quick way to get answers for your problems or your challenges. One of the things that I have found over the years is that you will find folks who don't pray, they don't do anything, they respect the traditions, but they only come when they need a job, when they're having a problem with their spouse, when they're having some trouble. These are not a way to just get an answer for a problem and then you go about your business. These traditions are something that you really do commit to and you involve everything during the day, during your daily life. Okay, so that is the third one. The Orisha traditions are not a tradition that is just for spells. I do not know if you are part of our Facebook community. If you are not, you can look for the Orisha Wisdom community on Facebook and you will see that one of the rules is that we do not give spells. There are reasons why we don't just do that. Are there ebos that are done? Absolutely. This is just an intricate part of the traditions. However, what is good for me may not be good for you. So if I tell you light a red candle for love tomorrow, that doesn't mean that that red candle is going to work for you, or a pink one, or a blue one, or a rainbow one. It just doesn't work like that. An herbal bath that was prescribed for me may not be the same one for you. So we're going to cover as we go forward as to the why. But the Orisha traditions, and you may find a lot of books, and I know that there are a lot of pages online that they do, you know, oh, this is a good, you know, trabajo. That means like an ebo for this type of thing. That may work for that type of energy, but it may need to be changed and tweaked in order for it to work for you. Another thing that these traditions are not for is, oh, I'm just feeling like doing this spell that I found from a book. Why not? because like I said before, it's just that energy that may have been around when that book was written may not be for you right now. So now you're going to spend money getting those things because they're not free, and you're going to basically waste it. You're going to waste your time, you're going to waste money trying to do things from a book that may not even apply to you. So this tradition is definitely not for that. Another one that I get often is, but my grandmother used to, and in that little parenthesis, you can put, mix this and do this, and, when she was feeling down. So now I can do that, right? No, you can't. And the why is the same as before. What worked for her then may not even be the type of energy around you now. So it may not even work for you. So I discourage folks from just trying to do things that they see, because they're going to get into a lot of trouble in the meantime. And you don't want to do that. You want to try to get to where you're going to as straight as you can. The traditions have a reason to their style of worship. Now, I don't know how many folks of you have come from Christianity, Catholicism, Buddhism, or the Virgin of the Tomatoes. It's very different from Yoruba tradition. So when you come here, you have to learn the different reasonings of why certain things are done. And that takes time. That takes time. That takes time of why a priest will do a certain motion when he's praying, or why we get on the ground a certain way. There's always a reason for the style of worship. So it's not just monkey see, monkey do. There are reasons for it. In our tradition, and this is on your workbook, we need priests to teach us how to connect. So a lot of folks have contacted me, and they want to, and they've contacted our platform and in the group, they want to do this on their own. There are ways that you can begin to connect on your own. Yes, granted, but we still need priests to teach us how to connect. I'm a priestess now, and I still go to the head of our egbe. I still go to my godmother, my jubona, for whatever it is that I need, because I need their guidance. So this is not a thing that you can do on your own after you read a book and you can just initiate yourself, or you can kind of, go to the botanica and buy your own ileques or your beads. We really do need them, which is why this is very key. And I'm glad that you're here, because you need to choose wisely on who is going to help you out. We need priests to do spiritual readings for us. And you're going to find that maybe you get to know a priest and they will take you to someone else. This doesn't take any value away from that priest who didn't read you. But it's kind of like if I were a regular, primary doctor, right? If I'm a primary doctor and I see somebody that has a lot of gastric issues, I can kind of pinpoint, yeah, you have a gastric issue. You're going to have to go to a specialist. So think of a priest who does the readings as a specialist of sorts, and there are different types of priests who can help you. And there are priests who have their specialties as well, which is awesome. We need priests to be our teachers. They are the ones who are going to tell us the how-tos and the whys for this community. And I think it's very important to understand that, because a lot of us are coming from a different tradition. So we definitely need them to tell us the how. We don't know how to do all these things, and the why. Now, step number 3, which is also on your workbook, learn the different traditions. That is the blank space. Learn the different traditions, because it's not just Orisa tradition. There are many within it. So let's talk about some so that you are familiar, and many of you may have already some familiarity with these. Traditional Isheshe. So this is where it all comes from. This one comes straight from Nigeria. So if you hear a priest say, hi, I practice Isheshe, that means that he practiced tradition that comes from Africa straight. It wasn't changed when it came to the Americas. Speaking of that, Lukumi. Lukumi happened when the Middle Passage happened and different places from Africa kind of mixed together. And in order to maintain the traditions alive, Lukumi and Santeria were born. So they hid the Orishas basically on plain sight. So here's a difference. For example, when you get crowned in Isheshe, you basically just get one Orisha crowned. But the Lukumis had to do it a little different. They had to crown your head Orisha and give you an additional set in order to keep the traditions alive. People didn't know if they were going to see their families or what was going to happen. I mean, when they came on the boats, they used to put their shells in their hair or swallow them just so that they can bring it across and they can keep it alive. Another Orisha, oh, let me go back because somebody asked me this. Orisha in Isheshe is spelled Orisa, right? In the Americas, you will find Orisha. And if you're talking to someone in Spanish, they will say Oricha, and it's with a CHA at the end. Still Orisha, it's just different spelling from where it's from. Speaking of that, in Candomblé, Orisha is spelled with an Orixa. Still, they just worship differently. The way that they worship Orisha is how it developed when it went to that part of the world. And another one which you may be quite aware of is Voodoo. So voodoo, and it's primarily in Haiti, and it morphed there into the voodoo that we know today. Some of it came to the States, but voodoo is what we have. Okay. When you're getting to know the traditions, just know that there are different ones. The key for you, this is on your workbook, is to find which tradition resonates with you. Now, when you're new, you're in a really good spot because it could be that you come in thinking that Isheshe is your thing because you know you want to connect to the motherland and you want to connect back to the source of the roots of the roots. But you may find that Lukumi is what makes your heart sing. So the key to connecting is to finding which tradition is the one that resonates with you. You will know it. You will feel it. It's what I always say in the podcast. It's what makes your heart sing. That's what you're looking for. Now, number 4, and this is in your workbooks. Know the different types of spiritual readings for your tradition. This is going to be very important, and we're going to talk about it for a little bit so that you don't get in trouble. And I don't mean in trouble that somebody's going to be mad at you. I mean in trouble that you're going to get somebody who's going to do a reading that has nothing to do with the traditions. If you go there for an Orisha reading, you should know what you're getting. So at least with today, you will have a basic knowledge of the what to expect so that you don't get swindled out there. The key is how an Orisha reading will be done and how will it happen. So the Diloguns you may hear about, or the Meri Dilogun. I don't know if you guys have heard of that term or if you guys have had readings. Some of you have. This is when 16 cowrie shells are brought out. So what happens during a reading is that a priest, they will do, let's talk Lukumi so that we don't keep going back and forth. So Lukumi, they will do the mojuba, they will pour water first, they will do the libation, they will do the mojuba, then they will present it to you, the shells, and the question may be asked unless it is a general reading, and then the 16 shells will be brought out. Now, when they fall on the mat or the floor, or the table, it doesn't matter. The way that they fall, what's going to come out is an odu. You may have heard of an odu. Now, the odu, the best way to describe it, just for the essence of time, is an energy. For those of you who come from Christianity, another way to compare it to, if you don't have an idea what it is, it's kind of like what part of the Bible fits you. So when an odu falls out, it's like a book of the Bible and a chapter, right? But that odu has different sides to it, and you just have to figure out which verse belongs to you. That's the best way that I can compare. No, an odu is not from the Bible. I'm just saying this for comparison. An odu will let the priest know what is going on at the reading. This is on your workbook. So an odu, you may also hear the word odun. And if you do, it's okay. Don't worry about it. That's like minor stuff. So an odu will let the priest know what is going on at the reading. So just so that we can talk about it for a bit. So let's talk about it, an odun that a lot of people know, Ejiobe. All the oduns come from this odu. Let's say Ejiobe falls on the mat for you. You want to know if it comes in Ire or EB. If it comes in Ire, it's in the best possible aspect of that odu. That lets the priest know, oh, you're perfectly aligned what you need to do. If you need to do an abode, this is what he has an idea where to start from. Now, if the odu came out in EB, some people will say osogbo or EB, that means the negative aspect of the odu, then the priest will have an idea of what to prescribe to you. Okay, you have to also know the different types of Orisa readings that can be done with Ifa, okay? An Ifa reading is going to be done with an Awo Ifa. An Awo is just a Yoruba word for student. So if you guys have your workbooks and you guys are unaware of what these words mean, jot it down there on your notes area on your workbook or your notebooks. So Awo, so a student of Ifa. Is a student of Ifa going to be good? It depends on how much practice he has done. Now, also understand that there are many Awo Ifas that are excellent, but they are not a Babalawo because a Babalawo has to make another Babalawo. So if an Awo Ifa goes through the process of becoming a Babalawo and makes another one, that's how they turn over. So a Babalawo is, the father, I guess the holder of Ifa. So he pretty much at this point begins to really dive deep and learn Ifa. And Iyanifa, Babalawo is a man. Iyanifa is like a mother of Ifa. So that means that she is a woman priestess of Ifa. So I wanted you guys to know the difference in case you guys have not been exposed to it or aware. If they do a reading, they might have something called ikins. So if you see something like this, these are seeds and they are going to pray. They may sing. They may do some acrobatic things with their hands, which is pretty awesome when you get a really stealthy priest. And then they're going to pull out an odum from it. Another way is the obele. So the obele is done with a chain. And the chain is going to have these seeds that are cut in half. Now, there are going to be other things involved, but the way that they fall is how the Ire and Eb, and again, this is not for a brand new person to the traditions, but if you're getting read with the obele, then at least you know, okay, this is definitely an Ifa reading. And the chains may vary. I just picked a very simple picture, but if they were crowned, let's say Oshun, as Babalawo was crowned Oshun before he went to Ifa, you may see colors in the beads to the colors of Oshun. So it's really nice. A lot of their obeles, they get done in different styles, but it's still going to have 8 half of this seed, and the way that they fall is how they're going to capture the odu that is for you. So other implements are used, absolutely, but we're going to cover things that are not the Orisha. So if you see that Irukere, that is what was in the beginning. It's the horse tail. So if you see that that's used, there's a powder that they put on the, let me make sure, right here, that is put on the opong. The opong is that round thing that the opele is on. That's okay. There may be other things that you may see as they're working on. That's totally fine. Okay. A Yoruba reading and an Orisha reading is not done with this, not done with cards. I don't care if it has the pictures of Orishas on it. I don't care who drew them. The archetypes are very different. An Orisha reading is done with the shells. We're not going to talk about the coconuts because the coconuts are used for something very different. It's more for a yes or no, and I'm not going to add it here. So if you're going for a reading with a priest, it's usually done with the shells or with the opele or with the kings and the opele or just the kings. So definitely not with tarot cards. So if somebody comes to you that they're going to give you an Orisha reading with cards, you know that this is not it. So at least you're aware now. Another one that it's not done with, it's not done with a pendulum. It's just not. So if you hear somebody who's going to tap the energy or whatever, not that the pendulum is bad, it's just not part of the Orisha traditions. It is also not done with a crystal ball. We are not going to do Orisha readings, reading the tea leaves, reading the coffee. We're not going to read the tobacco. We're not going to read the fire. We're not going to watch a melting candle. This is not that type of reading. Is there anything wrong with that? No, it's not. But this is not an Orisha reading. Why I am sharing this to you, with you, is because over the time that Orisha wisdom has started, it just hasn't ended. People have come all the time that they got a reading with, the shells and a pendulum, the cards and the shells, or, the tea leaves and this. And I'm like, that's not Orisha reading. So I want you to be aware so that you know where you're getting yourself into. All right, let's get into some fun stuff. We're going to talk about your ancestors. They are your foundation. So on page number 3 in your workbook, your ancestors are your foundation. Now, you have to learn who your ancestors are. So find out who, actually, let me go to the next one so that I can really get into it. Who were the eguns? That means the ancestors in your family that lived a great life. Who were they? Were they, somebody who robbed banks on the weekend? That I would not really start to work with that person, because people believe that when a person passes away that they see little angels and they're enlightened and now they're a heavenly being. It's not like that. They still have the same trends that they did as when they were alive. So the key to your ancestral worship is to make a list of the folks who passed away and how they lived their lives. Oh, here we go. If they lived with good moral character, they can help you on your journey. I always make a joke of Auntie Bertha. No, I don't know who she is. I don't have an Auntie Bertha. But if Auntie Bertha used to rob banks on the weekend and kick kittens on the side of the road, I wouldn't talk to her about starting an animal shelter. She's not going to give me great advice. This is not a person that I want, to look out for me. This person was just crazy. So just because the person passed on in your bloodline, that doesn't mean that that's the person you're going to worship as an ancestor. The goal of us, of each and every one of us, is to live great lives so that we are remembered when we pass on. All right. But before you begin working with the ancestors, there is something very important that you have to do. Okay? All right. You have to align your Ori. You may have heard Ori or not, so we're going to briefly touch on it. What is it? Your Ori is your highest self. It is actually beautiful on when you start learning about Ori, how it all came about. Basically, you designed your destiny before you came here. And in our traditions, we believe that we have our heavenly partner in heaven who can help to basically get us back on track on the destiny that we ourselves basically signed up on. So your Ori is your highest self. Another way of putting it, you know that little voice when you wanted to eat that extra ice cream? No, maybe you shouldn't do it. You said that you wanted to lose 10 pounds, but you're like, no, I'm going to do it anyway. Man, that was your Ori that was trying to take you to your own goals. So why is it important to align your Ori? You see this picture? Does that look like it's even organized? I don't know what kind of knots that is, but I wouldn't want to get involved in that. So that doesn't happen to you. Because when your Ori is not aligned, you don't make the best choices. So it's important to work with your Ori to align it so that you can make sound choices throughout your life. Your Ori will always support you in all of your endeavors. So I'm going to give you an example. If you say, man, I never can find a good man, I just can't. You know what? Your Ori hurt you. Your Ori will make that happen. Everything that you pronounce out of your mouth, your Ori, your highest self, which we believe there's different levels to it, but basically touch the top crown of your head, it just hurt you. So you said, oh, I just can't find a good man. You know what? Your Ori will place you in those situations so that you never find a good man. So I am going to put something on. Hold on, let me make sure. I'm going to put something on the chat, which I am going to hope that you use. If you do not have it, okay, OrisaWisdom.com. Okay, these are Ori affirmations. Take it, copy, paste it, put it somewhere so that you can print it. Why is this right? There's a saying that says, Orisa cannot give you what your Ori does not accept. So let's say you want a good man, but you keep saying that you just don't, you're not going to have it. You're not going to have it. Then Oshun may say, yeah, but she needs a good man. But your Ori just said no. She can't touch that because your Ori said no. So I always tell people, may your Ori take you to where your destiny lies because your Ori knows what you have come to do. It is so beautiful and powerful. You do not get to be initiated. You don't need to be initiated. You can start working with your Ori right now. And that is very powerful and amazing. All right. I told you I was going to spend a little bit of time there. Number 6. Create and worship on your ancestors' shrine. Now, we're going to dig a little bit into this, and for the sake of time, we're going to try to move a little bit quickly. But there are 2 types of ancestral shrines that you can create. You can do a bóveda, and you can do an Egun shrine. I'm going to spend a few minutes on each. So the bóveda, this is a simple one. You can start with this. A lot of folks are told to start with either 9 glasses of water, 7 glasses of water. This one is 7. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7. I think there's one on the back. I'm not quite sure. But a lot of people say 9 because 9 is the number of Egun. As long, it doesn't have to be these types of glasses. As long as if they are the same, but there's one that is bigger in the center, that's what's important. Now, some of you who are anti-Christianity, I don't want to put a Jesus there. There are reasons why a cross goes in there, but I want you to know that a cross is not a Christian thing. It's actually a very ancient thing. But that middle one means your connection to God. Depending on the lineage, as you start getting more into our traditions and you start working with a priest, they will tell you, well, each one of these have to do with a cuadro espiritual. That means like your gypsy, your Congo, your Indian, and other people say, no, no, this is for your ancestors. When you do find your lineage, just follow that and you will be okay. There are many prayers that can be found in English or in Spanish to start connecting with the bóveda. With the bóveda, you can put that on a little table. White is always the way to go. I didn't include flowers on this picture, but a lot of folks like putting white flowers. Some people like putting colorful flowers. A lot of people I have seen will also add like the lists names of their ancestors there. Other people put their prayer book right there to kind of have it easy. But this is a bóveda, which you can do. Another one is an Egun shrine. Now, I'm going to explain a couple of things so that I can quickly move on. The Egun shrine is put on the floor. The reason why it's put on the floor is because it is our connection to the ancestors who are probably buried on the ground. So our connection to the ground is there. You're going to see a stick there. You do not need to get a stick because the stick needs to be cast for, which is the opa iku or the Egun stick. A candle is good. Some people don't leave it on all the time, only leave it when they're around. Now, you're going to see food there, right? This is where us connecting with our ancestors come in. Every time that you say, let's say you want to do it during dinner. Every time you have dinner, you put a little bit of food aside to your ancestors and you go to the shrine and say, listen, I'm just trying to remember you. And I'm here, I'm just offering you a little bit of what I have. So this is a great way to begin to kind of mix the spiritual with your world. By the way, there are priests, there are ancestral priests who can help you really construct that. But in the beginning, you can do something as simple as just putting a little corner there. And if you have cascarilla, which is a white powder, you surround that area. Like a corner is good. You put 9 lines across the round part, and that is their little area. They will know that that is where you come. And it's good to talk to them. Hey, this is what happened to me today at work. The dog peed on the rug and I'm all mad. Or, I am starting to learn how to knit. I need some help. My grandma used to knit a lot, so kind of help me through it. Whatever it is that this is a good way for you to start using your daily life to connect. All right. So some folks are like, which one do I do? I say start with the bóveda first. You can do both, which is also on your workbook. Why not? You could do both. But I say start with the bóveda. Start connecting with one thing first before you start piling on a bunch. And remember, the key is not calling on ancestors who lived bad lives. I am sorry. I'm really sorry. But if you love them and they did drugs, they sold drugs, they killed somebody, that is not an ancestor you want to call. Can you work with them to get them to a better place? Yes, but that's not an ancestor that you may want to reach out to. And we can always discuss this probably in another webinar, but just keep those keys in mind. All right, number 7, white is a worship color. In the Yoruba traditions, actually in pretty much all of the Orisa traditions, you will see that white is a main color. So wear white for religious events. Wear white in your worship. Always what I say is, when in question, wear white. Now, if you go to events, you might see that they wear a blue. They're probably crown yemaya. Or if they're wearing black and white, it's probably an elegba. And that's okay. They're priests. They know what to do. But for new folks, when in question, wear white and cover your heads. All right. Number 8. Now we are in page number 4 of the workbook. Work with blank blank responsible priests. So what are some of the traits that we're looking for? All right, pay attention, guys. We want somebody who is thorough. That means that when they're asking questions for you in their readings, let's say, I'm going to just give you an example. You have to put this ebo on a tree. The end? No. A thorough priest will be like, okay, you got to go in the afternoon. You should find an old tree. You should find a tree with a lot of leaves. If you can, try to find one with a nest in it. Try to find one that is close to a crossroads, like a really thorough priest. That is what you are looking for. If somebody gives you really blank, kind of overly things that you have to assume answers, that is not a responsible priest. Somebody very thorough is what you're looking for. The second thing is true to the tradition. This is what I mean. That you're going to find in our traditions that there are people who scratched in palo and, I don't know, initiated into something else, and they practice Buddhism, and they're Orisha priests. It's fine. But when they're doing Orisha work, it has to be Orisha work only. So they have to stay true to the tradition that they are working with. The third trait, the third big trait, is somebody who explains things to you. A person who explains it, it's not, let me see, what's the main one? Well, I will go through it, but it's basically who gives you the why things are going on. Like, this is why we do this, not you just do it and that's it. You don't want to work with someone like that. Somebody who takes the time to explain things to you, even at a reading, that is who you want to work with. Not somebody who's just because I said so, end of story, because I have 50 years in Ocha. No. Get someone who will be willing to explain things. All right. Here's a couple of things, and this is on page number 4 of your workbook. A responsible priest does not rush you. Does not rush you. So if somebody's saying, you have to do this right now, you have to get your elekes right now, you have to make Ocha like yesterday, you're like scrambling. Ocha is like, no joke, it's like at least $6,000. That's not including all the things you have to get beforehand. So a responsible priest does not rush you. They understand your situation and they work with you. And it may take time for you to understand all the processes and your responsibility to each of those processes to give you time to connect. I've seen people, they get elekes, a month later they get their warriors, a month later they get the hand of Orumila, and they have no idea how to connect with these things. So somebody who does not rush you is what you're looking for. A responsible priest does not scare you. This is what I mean. I met someone. I'm going to use her as an example because it was shocking to me. I met someone who was virtually in tears because this priest told her that if she didn't buy this spiritual thing that he was selling, that she was going to get murdered outside of her house. I was so angry when I heard that, because that is not what priests are supposed to do. We are there to serve the community, not to scare you. There may be some interesting things that come out in a reading, but it's not to scare you. You have to have that ashe and that tact to be able to relay a message so that you are able to understand what's going on. A responsible priest does not belittle you. I have experienced this because I said so. You don't get to ask questions. Or what is it? You shut your mouth, open your eyes, open your ears, and you don't need to ask questions because you don't know anything. Oh my God, it was like shocking to me. I'm like, I'm an adult. I'm paying my own rent. And these people were making me feel like I was nothing. A responsible priest does not belittle you. That was a water sip. Okay, number 9. This is on your page 5 of your workbooks. Attend events. Whenever you can, attend them. Attend to what I call open to the public drummings. This is not a closed a drumming, just one that's open to the public. Try to make it your business to go. These are some of the 3 that, there may be more, but these are some of the major 3 that you will encounter. A cariocha, that means when they're making a brand new priest. Those are so awesome because you want the deities, you want the orishas to come down to visit. And we're going to talk about that too. Anniversary ones. There may be a drumming, there may not be a drumming for it. It's okay. But you want to attend those. The anniversaries is to commemorate and congratulate the priest on whatever year they are making with that Orisha. So that's what we call anniversary events. In a festival, you may have heard the Oshun Festival. In New York, in September, they have the Yemaya Festival at Rockaway Beach. That's a festival whenever you can. If you can hear about those, attend those. Events will help to get you to know your spiritual community. You're going to get to see different houses come together, different priests, different aborishas, people just like you who are starting out. So this is kind of good so that you can have that feeling of community. It will also help you learn about Orisha as they come down and pay us a visit. All right. Oh, let me go back. When they come down, they may have something very important to share with us. They may tell you something that you absolutely need to hear in that point in your life. And if you didn't go to that event, that Orisha wouldn't have the opportunity to tell you that. So it's so wonderful to be able to attend those events, because how awesome is our religion, our tradition, that the energies that we worship can come and commune with us and talk to us and hug us and clean us and just help us whenever we need. I just find that so amazing about our traditions. All right, number 10. Number 10 is take your time. If I could put this in big red letters, I absolutely would, because taking your time is absolutely key to your journey. Take your time in receiving ceremonies. You like my snail there? Cute, right? Don't rush into getting things. Don't rush, because when you rush, I'll explain going forward into the why not rushing into getting ceremonies done. I'm not saying you don't need it. I'm just saying wait, because it's not just about receiving the ceremony. You now have an obligation to that person who gave it to you. You have an obligation to that Orisha. Are you really ready for that? You may think you are, but there's a lot that comes with receiving stuff, you know? Okay. Choosing a godparent. Please, please take your time choosing a godparent. I can't stress this one enough. I have a story which I am going to tell you really quick. The story is, there's a friend of mine who really wanted to do Ocha, and he says, look, I'm ready to do Ocha. It's going to be with so-and-so. I'm like, are you sure about that? Yeah, we're really good friends. This is going to be awesome. To make a long story short, that person is not involved in his life, and I am glad that he didn't leave the traditions, because he's a great human being. But this is what happens. Not just because they're your friend, that's going to make a good godparent for you. So take your time. Rushing, I like that running lady, may give you these results. You may wind up in the wrong spiritual house. You may wind up there, and that's going to be a lot of wasted time. That may be just bad experience after bad experience. The center one is years without spiritually connecting, and the last is wasted money. I can't tell you how many people have walked in through our doors saying that they have Ocha, they don't want to have anything to do with the religion, but now they have all these Orishas, and a lot of them, when they went to another house, a lot of things they wanted to get them to redo things. That is a lot of money. If you're getting, for example, warriors, I think it's about $350 now, something like that. So I take your time, because whenever you make the wrong choice, it's money in back of money that is going to be coming out. And I've met alejos who have gone through this, aborishas, and priests. There are priests that I know who have more than 15 years and hadn't had a godparent, because the godparent and them had a down and out when they made their ocha. So I don't want you to have to go through that. Take your time. It is better for you to wait than for you to rush and make a mistake that is going to land you with nothing at the end. So why did you show up today? You want to connect with this beautiful and ancient tradition. I got it. You want to find your spiritual house now. Like, you want to do this right now. But You don't know where to start. You don't know who to trust as a priest. You want to be in these traditions, but it feels like the time clock is right behind you and it's ticking, and you have no idea when this is going to happen for you. I mean, you just found out about it 6 months ago. By now, you should have been a priest, right? You don't want to be taken for a ride. You don't want to lose more time. For a lot of us, we're coming into these traditions as adults. It's like we could have learned all of this as kids, but that's not our option. So now we're feeling like, oh my God, we have to waste more time. So, how do I make it work so that I learn these traditions and connect with my ancestors, connect with the community? Because that's important. Your journey is individual, but this is a communal, tradition. And of course, connect with Orisa. And how do I make sound decisions on which priest to work with? It's not easy. You have to make these choices and make them as best as you can so that you don't struggle later. So option one, there are two options here. One is basically to do what a lot of us have done, which is to choose the complicated route, long route, and the costly route. There are many things that I had to do over and over and over with different priests. I'm speaking from experience. Or two, a simple, actionable, and strategic way to go about it. I know which option I would go with. So I want to introduce to you Alejos 101. Because of Orisha wisdom, there's a lot of questions that have come through and over and over and over, that I created this so that I don't have to respond to the same questions all the time. Alejos 101 is about empowering Alejos and new Aborishas by learning the Orisha traditions and protocols to save them time and money. So what do you get? With Alejos 101, you get 7 modules. You get resources, you get videos, you get audio, you get printables, you get all kinds of things when you go to Alejos 101. So I want to tell you what's in each of these modules, because I created it so that it is easy for folks to kind of run through, no matter if you're going to be in a Lukumi house, if you're going to wind up in Isheshe, you're able to make the decisions that are good for you. So on the first module, we talk about Orisha basics, the beginning of the traditions, like our beginning story, like our Genesis story, how we began. We talk about Orishas, and we also talk about other spiritual beings that are not Orisha, but that we still communicate with. Oh yes, and then there's a couple of other things that you may not have heard of on Orisha basics. Number 2, we talk about dressing for spiritual success. Yes, dress in white. You got this for today. Dress in white, because white is your worship color. But in this module, we talk about dressing in white for men, dressing in white for women. There are some tips in there and the whys, and they're pretty good. And there's some really embarrassing examples of things that have happened on why we ask folks to bring these things when they're dressing, to consider things when they're getting dressed. Module number 3, we cover prayer and worship. They're two different things. You need prayer in order for worship so that they can work together. This module is a little bit heftier. There is a big resource and printable so that you're able to start connecting on your own. So all of these things are done step by step. And then so that you can start to worship on your own. Number 4, we're going to talk about the Bóveda and the ancestral shrine in depth. We're going to discuss everything, how to set it up, and tips so that, you don't burn your house down. That's a big tip. And other things that go around these shrines so that you're able to use your everyday activity every single day to connect with your shrine and connect with the spirits that are there. So it's not just a bunch of glasses of water or just some food on the floor. All right. Module number 5 covers events protocols. I told you how I got started. I got yelled at because I was next to the soon-to-be drummers. I had no idea. I didn't know how to talk to priests. I had no idea what happened at an event. I blundered a lot. I was pretty much embarrassed in public often because I had no idea what to do, what to expect, how, what could go wrong. And a lot of things could go wrong because they went wrong with me and other folks that I have known. So I put this one together so that when you go to an event, you can be a lot more confident than I was. And a lot of people who have seen this have been before. Number 6, very important. This is one of the heaviest modules because we talk about readings and ebos. This is the module that you learn to what it is exactly that you do before a reading, during a reading, after a reading, what types of readings. It talks about how to look for a responsible priest when you're doing ebos in their house, or what I call outside into the elements. So doing ebos outside, it's not just about throwing a chicken in a bag and putting it on a corner. That's not how things are done. So I made a lot of mistakes, and I put them basically in a way so that you guys don't make the mistakes or have to deal with the authorities because you're doing something wrong. Readings and ebos not only teaches you about that, but it really dives very, very deep on how to choose a very responsible priest to work with, which I think is super important. If you choose Isheshe, if you choose Lukumi, it doesn't matter. And number 7, the last module talks about ceremonies and initiations before Cariocha. So before you get initiated as a priest, there are things that you may have to do. We talk about each and every one, what is necessary, not exactly what happens, but what is necessary for it, the importance, and also the amount of money that you're looking into. Because if you're going to come in here, people say that this is a poor man's religion, and that's further from the truth. It's not. Everything that you have to do costs money. Okay. With Alejos 101, you get clarity, community, clarity because you know exactly now which way to go. Community, because you're going to be part of a community of people who are just like you. They started out with absolutely knowing nothing, and now they're starting to find their houses, they're getting ilekes, like they're going through their process. So you're going to have not only their support, but I also enlist support of elder priests to come and help with that particular community. So with Dalechos 101, you get a blueprint of what to do from, I just found out that there's some Orisa and from Africa and I'm interested, all the way to how to connect and all the steps that need to happen and the best possible route for you. So what you will create, you're going to have a unique advantage over new Alejos. I struggled. I would come home crying. I read books. I tried to see if Mickey Mouse could initiate me. I really was there. But you have a unique advantage. You know exactly what you can start doing now. So I gave you in the group, I gave you the Ori affirmations link. Go there. You can start to align your Ori. You can start to align now your ancestors, but now you have a thorough path. Another thing you will create is now you know how to pray in our traditions. So it's not just about, putting your hands together, looking down and being all somber. There's a procedure that now you can have. So I think that's really amazing. How to begin to worship and connect with your ancestors, your ego, how to choose the best possible ones so that you can begin to connect and get the best help that you can get. You will be more confident as you learn the protocols. You have no idea how startled I was when I attended one of my first events and I saw what happened beforehand. I freaked out. I had no idea what to do and I was scared. So now you know exactly what to do. You know what is expected and what is appropriate for a brand new person. You're not going to be offending people like a lot of us did in the beginning. You're going to have confidence in learning about ceremonies in our traditions before Cariocha, because not everything just links to Cariocha. That's just another beginning. I want you guys to enjoy your journey. I want your foundation to really be solid when you're connecting with your spiritual faith. I spoke with someone very recently who was very concerned on whether she needed to go to a crossroads to do this in the morning and at night. And I'm like, you don't need to worry about that. That's not even part of your foundation. And she seemed more relaxed. And I was happy to talk to her because I don't want people to focus on things that are not important. Focus on your Ori, focus on your ancestors, and learn what you need to learn in order to choose a very good person to guide you. So, what is the investment? You could magically land your perfect spiritual house today. That would be awesome. You could spend years bouncing without a godparent. I can attest to how that was. And that was a disaster after disaster. I mean, I almost had 3 godparents. That's how it went for me. Time lost while trying to find out where to start connecting with your spirituality. You can lose lots of money with spiritual work that doesn't work. There's many ebos that I personally had to do many times because it just didn't work. Come to find out, a lot of things just weren't done right. There weren't thorough questions asked. And if I would have known, I wouldn't have spent that money. That was my resources. Or you could try Alejos 101. I really love this because you can spiritually connect and you can do it right the first time. So if I invite you to join, here is the link to join Alejos 101. There is the link. All right. So for Alejos 101, I have a 100% risk-free, 30 days. If you saw it, you did the prayers, you studied, you printed everything, and that's it. You found that you didn't connect with the broomstick, then I will just refund you your money. The total value of this course is $1,297. The downloadable material by itself is $347. The private community that we have, I couldn't even find a price to put on it because it has been so invaluable. There's a bonus that I'm about to talk about that's going to knock your socks off. And there's a fast action bonus, which is a group call. For the students who have been before you, the group calls was one of the major things that they enjoyed because they were able to ask questions. They were able to ask questions on what happened in that module, what worked, what didn't work, what they could do, what they experienced. That was major. I didn't have that. I was just trying to light candles and stare at it all day long. I had no idea how to connect. So for the next 48 hours, I am going to definitely share and open the registration for Alejos 101. And there's 2 ways you can get it. Either one simple payment of $297 or 4 installments of $97. I did the installments because not everybody has it, $300 laying around, and I got it. So $297, and this is what happens after those 48 hours. So after tomorrow at midnight, the price will definitely go up to $397 or 5 installments of $97. So this is what will happen next. You're going to go to this page when you go to the alejos101.com/join. You go there. You read everything that you need to. And once you decide to register, then you will go to this registry. It will look a little different depending on which one you choose, but this is basically what we're looking into. And then you'll get an email from me with your login details. This is what's going to happen next. This is the home page. I invite everybody to watch that welcome video first because that video will let you know what is going to happen each step of the way during each class. Each of those little boxes when you get there is the course. When you get to that course, there are, oh my God, there is printable materials. You can download the audios. You can download the slides. You can download the video. There's a lot that you can have. And then, let's see. This is what I was so excited about. You're going to get a bonus, which is called Oh My God Parents. Now, remember that thing that I told you that if you wait until the very end that I was going to have for you? So with this, okay, hold on. I'm going to get the link and I'm getting ready to put it into the chat for you. All right. When you get this link, this is, I'm going to put it here, getting to know you. When you get this bonus, oh my God, parents, this was a very difficult one to make. This is a class all by itself, but I decided to add that into this showing and release of Alejos 101 because I feel that a lot of people really need to choose their godparents and they need to know how to make these choices. So I have included that, and this printout that I just gave you is good for you. You can keep it and it goes with that. And at least you are able to start now considering the questions to ask. But the course itself is on a bonus. Oh my God, parents. And I'm very excited for it. It was a very, it came from the heart. And I had to reach out to a lot of folks to make sure, you know, what is the best information that I could give a brand new person who is in the shoes that you're in now? What do I wish I would have known? I asked to folks who had down and outs with godparents. I asked other priests, what is it that you wish you would have known? And this bonus came out. Do you see the phone here? I am going to offer, instead of one group call, I'm going to offer two. I think that two group calls, and they're more than an hour. This is like basically a consultation in a group. You're able to ask your questions. This is absolutely amazing. And everybody who has been through this before you has loved the group calls. Now, the Facebook is because there will be a private Facebook group just for folks who have been through this process, just like you have. And then I bring priests in there. I am very active in this group. So is the community. I have been really proud to see how folks within it have actually made friends offline. There was somebody who had an injury and all of them rallied together. All of the students rallied together to get this person through. And I was so proud of that. So the community, no value. And these are folks who have been where you are and they've gone through it. And there are a lot of things that I will come, like I may invite an elder priest to come and join on a call, because sometimes you just need to have your questions answered. So we have basically reached the end. I was struggling to keep this under 60 or so minutes, but we had technical difficulties. If you want to read what other folks have said before you, here it is. So here is the link up above if you are ready to join, or at least to find out more information. But the truth is, it has become an obsession of mine not to find another Alejo go through the ringer like many of us have. This is why Orisa Wisdom was created. I don't like that. I don't like when other people come down on them. I just absolutely, that is not what Orisa Wisdom is about. So while we're here at the very end, let me know if you have your questions. Now I'm going to be able to go into the chat and you are free to ask your questions. So let's see what you got for me. All right, moving the computer over. Are there any questions? I know that I was sent some questions beforehand. So while the questions are coming in, I can ask you some. Well, I can answer some that were asked before. All right, I don't see anything yet. Okay, one of the questions that was asked was, how long will I have this course for? The course will be available to you for the lifetime of the website, as So for a lifetime. So anytime that I decide to make a change, you will have access to it. If there is something going on or if there's an update, I will let everybody know. So there is that. So you will have access to it for a lifetime. Okay. Let's see. Do you all have any other questions? Okay. I'm going to get my trusty calculator because a message just came in and I'm going to answer it. So hold on a second. Okay. Somebody asked me. Okay. Somebody asked me, well, why should I do this with you? And why should I pay for that? And I thought, you know what? I'm going to totally answer that. I got a calculator because the question came in on a message. And I'm going to give you this example. This is actually of someone that I know. So this is not like made up, but here we go. So you decide that you are very excited about Orisa and you're going to do this. So you're going to live. The questions are okay. Let me go to the YouTube live. Okay. Thank you for that because I was on my chat. All right. I am going to go to the YouTube. All right, hold on. All right, hold on. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Let's see. I don't see them on the YouTube portion of the comments. And I'm going to take a look. Let's see their questions. Okay. I don't see them here. Is there a way to put them on this particular chat? Because I don't see them here. And I went to the YouTube channel itself, and I don't see any comments there. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see any. Is there any way to get them into the chat? Because I would love to get to them. So if you guys can go, questions are on YouTube. Let me see. Okay, in the meantime, while I'm getting there, I'm going to answer this question because I thought that I thought it was pretty amazing and bold to ask, but I think it's a good question. I was told to learn visual. Okay. I was told to why. Why should I get this? And I'm going to give you the example. So let's say that you want to learn about the religion. You want to learn about it right now. And they tell you, well, you're going to go in for a reading. So I have my calculator here, and I'm going to put a pen because I'm going to write down some stuff. Let's say, just for the sake of this argument, that you're going to go for a reading. The reading is $21. And then from there, you have to get a rogation, which is now going about 65, 70. Let's just do 60. And then you have to do something else, and let's say that's 35. Okay? That's on your first reading now. That's it. Let's say that they tell you, well, the next thing that you have to do is you have to get eleques. That's fine. You have to get eleques. So eleques now are $121. Okay. So 121 plus 21. Okay. I think we're 1 plus 60. So it's like a total of 116 plus 121. Okay, so we're up to 237 right now. Then after that, you lost your job. So you freak out and you need one. You go for another reading. That's another 21. And I know they're not 21, they're more than that, but I'm just using it as an example because that's how much they used to be. So you go to get that reading. And then after that, you go to, they tell you need warriors. So now you need warriors. That's an extra 350. No joke. We're up to 608 bucks. Okay. And then now the man that you thought that you loved has gone away. You're miserable. You're about to slice your wrist. Life is terrible. You have to spend now another 100 bucks. Let's just say 100 for the sake of this call. Now we're up to 708. Now they tell you, you know what? I think what's going to help you is that you get the hand of Orumila and you get your Bajada so that people know who your guiding Orisha is. You're like, okay, well, how much is that? That's going to be $1,500. Okay, so you're spending $1,500. We're up to $2,208. Then they tell you, listen, you have to, do this other ebo because they came out and we're all doing it whatsoever, and it's going to be an additional 40 bucks. Now we're up to 2,048. Let's just, for the sake of this and for the sake of the time, you have to get Olokun because you need good things in your life. You need good things in your life, and hold on a second. I want to see if I'm. For the sake of the time, oh, sorry. Okay. I'm trying to see if I see the comments. But no, I don't see the comments, by the way, on the YouTube on my phone either. So let's say that for you to get Olokun now, it's $900 because that's the going rate. So now we're up to 3,148. Then they tell you, well, let's just stop there for a moment. Let's just stop there. So for the person who asked me, now let's say that you decide that after 3 years, you are going to do Ocha. You're going to do Ocha, and the one thing that you need to have, oh, by the way, whenever you get warriors, you have to pay for them to get fed. So and they have to get fed in your house. That's not free either. But I'm not going to add that here. Let's say that you decide that you're going to make an Ocha. Let's say Chango, and they're going to give it to you at a discount for $6,500. Let's say that's a discount. That is $9,648, and that's a discount. That's not including all the ebos. That's not including the ebos that need to be done after you're done. That's not including the white clothes. That's not including all the honey that you had to buy along those times. And then you discover that you hate your godmother. You want to kill her. She wants to kill you. And guess what? She doesn't give you your Ita book. Now, what's going to happen? You're by yourself. You didn't make the right choice in the beginning. On top of that, you are now lost because you have all these Orishas, but you have no godparent. You don't know how to worship. It takes years to really get to know how to worship. And you know what? It would have been great if you just would have chosen your house from the beginning. It would have been great. So what happens next? You're stuck out of the money, and it's in the thousands. So why Alejos 101? I think that 297, even 397, 597 is awesome. Just that you don't have to do that again. The truth is that when you get warriors and when you get Ilekes, if you go to another godparent, let's say you had it down and out, you got to get that and you got to pay for that all over again. So let's say for the sake of this discussion that it's $121 that you paid to get your Ilekes, right? You paid for that. Guess what? You got to pay for it again with the new godparent. They're not going to accept your current Ilekes. It's not done. Let's say that you got warriors. Do you know that there are many priests that when you go from somebody else's warriors, they will redo them? That's an extra $350 and up that you're going to have to pay. I know that because they've walked through those doors of mine. And they're crying on why I have to do this, or I don't have a godparent anymore. My godparent, or this one is not my favorite. My godparent, as soon as I made Ocha, disappeared. There are things that you could have looked for beforehand, and this is what after the fact, a lot of us like, oh, I should have asked for that, or I should have noticed this. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case, and you're stuck. So this has come, Alejos 101 came from this need for folks to really find their own way without pressure. They can start on their own. They don't have to get initiated in order for them to start. They can totally start, but they now know what to look for. So it's not just, oh, I got 20 years, you have to bow down. It has nothing to do with that. You have to be able to be an excellent teacher. You have to be able to learn how to guide someone. So that is basically the why. And why to do it this way? Because I have answered the same questions many times over, many phone conversations, many internet conversations, and it's a lot of the same questions. So Alejos 101 was created as a blueprint to let a brand new person really find their path without having to do the same struggles that we did. So I have a question. Does anybody had a question about anything else that we covered or Alejos 101 before we close down? Oh, yes. To the person who hasn't been guided. Yeah. Um, it is very important in the beginning, the one who put the question on the chat. Okay, if you have to be in these traditions, and this is for Isabel, if you have to be in these traditions, you know it and you feel it, but you haven't been guided, that means that you're not where you need to go. You need to focus on your Ori. Now, if I were you, I would be downloading those Ori affirmations and beginning now. You know what? I have found I'm grateful for the house that I found. I found the teacher that I need to guide me. And then you begin to work with your ancestors. I can't begin to tell you the magical or the energetic or the spiritual thing on how it happens. It just does. So when you start out in the beginning and you have no direction, like you're not guiding your spirituality, you seem to stay put in the same place. Because I was stuck in the same spot for a really long time and I just couldn't move forward. I had no direction. Once I started doing little things consistently and connecting consistently, as little as it was, I started meeting other people who introduced me to somebody, who introduced me to somebody, who I attended an event, and then things fell into place. Okay. Any other questions? I don't see any more in the chat. Let's see. Let's see, let's see, let's see. All right. Okay. All right. Oh, I got a question through a message. I don't know why you don't put these things on chat. The question is about the oh my god parents. Yes, anybody who, especially this is a fast action bonus. I don't know if I'm going to leave it because it is a class by itself. But if you want to get the oh my god parents class, yes, that comes with it. That comes with a really long video. It comes with that questionnaire that I gave you, and it comes with that, and you will have access to that for life. And if there's an update, I will of course give you the update. Okay, that was a great question. I don't know why people are not chatting on the on the Facebook. I mean, on the chat box in the page. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions about Alejos 101 or anything else that we covered? Did you guys find this useful to at least start on your way? Okay, perfect. I know that there's a delay when I say something, so I have to kind of wait. Oh, look at that. I see. Okay, I see a bunch of questions now. It was in the top chat. Okay, fantastic. Okay. All right, now I'm going to have a little bit more time. Fantastic. All right, audio, no visual, blah, blah, blah. I had to put this on chat already. Fantastic. Yeah. Yes, the tambors were Lynette. Lynette? I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Yeah, tambors are the bembes. That is the way to go. Okay. Isa, don't worry about it. I got you on this. So Ma'at, what was the $500? I'm scared of finding out what it is. And yes, you can email me questions about the course. That's fine as well. Okay. I have a few questions. Isa, you can post the questions. I think that if you're asking the questions, other people are asking questions. Yeah, oh my God. 500 for warriors. That is crazy. Wow. Oh my God. I thought it was 350. It's been a while. That's a long, oh my God, that's a lot of money. I found out recently that the hand of Orumila with the Bajada together is about 1,500. I almost had a heart attack. So just think about it. And here's the thing for you guys. I'll give you this little bit for you. So if you get the hand of Orumila in Isheshe, it is different what you get with the Lukumis, which is why I tell folks, please do your homework. And I've worked really hard in Alejos 101 because I want folks to make a good choice for the type of tradition that resonates. There are some folks that have received the hand of Orumila and Lukumi and they hate it. And now they have to pay a lot more money to now go get the hand of Orumila in the Sheshe. Now you have two things, one you don't connect and one you do. I don't want you to do that. I want you to find what works for you. Oh my God, Andre, I can't believe that. I'm absolutely shocked. $1,500 for two sets of warriors? Oh my God. No. When you get warriors and olokun, that doesn't mean that you're initiated into the Orisha mysteries. That's very different. Olokun is received as an Ademu Orisha. That means that is an Orisha that you can work with before initiating, and that can happen before you have Ocha. That does not mean that you are an Orisha priest. In order for you to be an Orisha priest, you have to go through the Kariocha ceremonies, and they vary from Isheshe to Lukumi and Santeria, but it's quite a ceremony. Like you cannot miss it. You know you are absolutely a priest. You get presented to the community as a brand new priest. Oh my goodness. Oh, Dina, yes, of course. Okay. So it's called this is for Dina. For Dina. Julia de Burgos Community Center. That is for you, do. They have awesome stuff in there. Great. You can take a look at the events, but if it's a private event, it may not be listed in their calendar, so you may have to kind of call about. But as you start getting to know folks in the tradition and priests, it comes out. Okay, what should you know when you get warriors? Should you be okay? When we go through Alejos 101, yes, we do cover the warriors and what you should know. We cover that it's more than just getting what you get, depending on what you get, because getting warriors is more of a Lukumi thing and what you need to do. We don't discuss OB as of yet. However, we are definitely planning for folks in the Alejos 101. We're planning to do an OB workshop, which, I mean, it will be free to them, but for everybody else, they will have, because it's going to be really hands-on, and they're going to be able to learn how to cast. Now, I try not to do those too much because a lot of folks in different lineages cast differently. So what I want to do is I want you to have a very good head start. My question is, if somebody gave you warriors, then you have to go to that priest. That priest is responsible for teaching you how to cast. Oh my God, no, 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 no. Please don't buy shrines for $500. Yeah, I've heard some really bad stuff. If you guys are part of the Orisha Wisdom community, I've spoken to a lot of folks and I've heard some stuff. Please don't buy shrines. You're not going to be able to connect with something, whether it's shipped from Nigeria or Timbuktu or planet Mars. You're not going to be able to connect. There has to be a process. You are involved, but you may not be able to see it being built for you, but buying something like that you don't connect with, and then on top of that, you don't have a teaching for it, please don't do that. I really don't want you to go through that. I've known folks who have, and they have all these Orishas. They don't know how to pray to, they don't know how to connect with, they don't even know anything about it. And these are folks who have many years in the religion. I want you to avoid doing that. Find a good priest to work with. When you find a good priest to work with, I promise that you're going to get what you need to get. Not everybody needs to have Olokun. Not everybody needs to have Ibejis. Not everybody needs to do a whole bunch of stuff. So don't worry about this. Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad you didn't. Wookiee Planet. I like Wookiee. Yes, yes, we're good. I don't know how there are Yoruba classes in that planet, but we're gonna have to check it out. All right. 500. Okay. Wow. You guys are shocking me with all these prices. Oh my goodness. Okay, folks, I'm glad that I found you guys on this chat and not the other one. Do you guys have any other questions? I know I was supposed to make this into an hour. I'm going to have to tell for tomorrow's that it's going to be more than an hour and a half. Do you guys have any questions about Alejos 101? Do you guys have any questions about anything else that we discussed today? I used to be in New York, but I'm in North Carolina. It's hot like crazy right now. And by the way, you do get support if you need to speak to me. For anybody who, when you join the Alejos 101 community, they can tell you that if you're having trouble, especially with a particular module, I advise folks to do 1 week at a time. It is, I mean, you could do like I do, that I basically listen to everything, but then my head hurts and then I have to take like Excedrin. But I would suggest doing 1 week at a time. There's a lot of work on each module that you're going to have to do, especially once you start getting to 3, 4, 5, you're going to be very busy those weeks. Yeah, you can start paying in installments now. That's why I did it. So I know that not everybody can do one shot, so that's why I did. If you do it for the next 48 hours, it is 4 installments of $97. instead of the 300 all in one shot. Yeah, so you'll see 2 buttons on the sheet when you go to alejos101.com join. Oh my God, I can't believe it. So let's see. Does anybody know how much is Olokun going for now? I heard it was 900 last time I checked, but that was like years ago. And the veggies, that's another one that they give a lot. And I don't know about the ileques. It seems to vary. I know somebody who got ileques for 350 bucks. Ah, boy. Oh, by the way, in Alejos 101, somebody else messaged me. We discuss about you in your relationship. We discuss your parenting and what I'm going to think about this. I am going to be bringing up something back which really works because see, the traditions is so involved. It's not something you're going to learn overnight. You have to now learn what is your responsibility as a follower. What does that entail? It's not just about, oh, I'm just going to put this candle together and, oh my God, Olokun is 1,000. Okay, I was 100 off. Ileke is 300. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's a lot. Wow. Okay. See, it's been a while for me. It's been a while. Yeah, that's wow. Okay. I talk about the children, and when it comes to my community in Alejos 101, I am very invested in them, and I have some folks who have children. How do you deal with that? So if you do, yeah, like that's crazy. If you do have children, how do you do that? How do you start weaving in little by little so that you can make this a tradition? So for example, like, I don't know what it was, some bunny died, and my 5-year-old comes running with this dead bunny talking about, Dad, can you fix him? Because I don't want him to go to the egums. You know, maybe we can pray to the Orisa to fix them. You want that. You want your children to really be connected as you are. How that happens is by your connection, how you do things on a daily basis. That's my focus. People are very much rushing into getting initiated right now. You don't need to get initiated right now. You need to connect. There are folks who have made Ocha. I know because they've walked into our doors and I speak to them a lot. And they hated it. It was not what they expected. There's other people that when they go and they're part of our traditions, they didn't know that it was going to be so much work. They thought they were just going to look pretty in their whites all day long. This religion is a lot of work. There's a lot of things. You're going to get your hands dirty. And you have to understand where all these things are coming from. There are responsibilities for men. There are responsibilities for women. You need to understand these things before you jump and get yourself into a bind. So for the response from that person who sent me that message that I had to go run and get my calculator, I think that even if it was in the hundreds and hundreds, just to have avoided a lot of the trouble that we got into, that would have done it for me. That just absolutely would have done it. I can tell you story after story, but we're almost running into our second hour. So, oh my God, 1,500 for local. Oh, geez. I'm so sorry if you paid for that. Wow. Okay. So, guys, was this useful? Do you find that these 10 steps puts you a little bit ahead? The prices are a lot. To go further, I have to start paying you. You don't have to. You don't have to. If you do not have to get Alejos 101. You don't. Andre, I'm so sorry. I have to put this in a way that when I'm asked over and over the same questions, I don't have to do the same hours on the phone as well as a lot of emails over and over to respond to the same questions. So what I did was that I found a place, and believe me when I tell you that I found the best that I could to offer you guys and anybody who comes afterwards so that I can make better use of my time. Somebody told me recently that they're very interested in Ori worship, and it's difficult to do those things when I am responding to the same questions over and over and in the hundreds, over and over on what to do. So I can't keep that going. It just, for me, I couldn't do it because I'm a wife, I work, I have my children, but I also want to give a lot to the community. So 300, I think, is a steal. You're going to get all your answers. You get people, you get elders to respond to you. You don't have to get Alejos 101. You can just go on, do whatever you can on your own. And that's okay. The way that I feel is everybody has to walk their path. But if I can shorten it for them and make it a lot easier, I am happy to do that. And that way I can focus on doing, I was thinking about doing sessions, a whole bunch of sessions on Ori worship. I'm not going to be able to do that if I have to continue answering the same things over and over. So you understand what I'm saying? If I'm, like I said, if in this traditions, and I will tell you this, in this tradition, everything is an exchange. And this is on the real. I'm Latina. I have African roots as well as Spanish roots. And I'm going to tell it to you very straight. And everybody else, this religion is an exchange, which is why when you go to a priest, you have to pay them. You have to pay them for their time. Just like my time is worth quite a bit, so is their time. But I have given a lot and you have to give back. So how am I able to keep all of these things going? Because that website was quite a bit. You know what I mean? So I got you. And if you can't, it's okay. But when you go to a priest, you have to pay him. And then on top of that, you have to pay for all those things that come along with it. Now, if you make a wrong choice because you chose to go the long route, it's okay. Hopefully you will do like a lot of us did at some point and learn from it, and you will pay a better priest. I just want folks not to do that. And I want to be able to have a better use of my time and to be able to serve them better. Oh, I'm not mad. No, trust me, I'm not mad. But if you can, this is something that I've worked for a really long time. And I think someone is in here who happened to take this course. And and they can vouch that I spent so much time with them because I want them to grow. And if they need me, they know that they can call for me. And they know that they can reach out. I don't want them to be by themselves. I was by myself. And that was pretty sucky for me. Oh my God. No. Okay. To Andre, yes, a lot of things cannot be taught before OCHA. That is true. However, this is why I made Alejos 101, so that people can make the right choices from the beginning so that they don't even have to go into the thousands. That infuriates me because there's so much that you need to learn before you even cross to go into OCHA. And it makes me so angry because people could be living a much better life right now. And they don't. They're stuck. I don't want people to get stuck anymore. This is why I created Orisa Wisdom. This is why I do my podcast. But now I need to be able to better serve others. And this is a way that I'm like, here's a map. Go chase your destiny. Go chase your journey and go find your destiny. But I'll be here. So I don't, let me see. Oh, wait. I'm sorry about the 5,000, man. I really am. I didn't even spend that much before OCHA. It was just, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're not connected right now, if you're not in a great spot, don't think that Ocha is going to make it better. It doesn't. It just gives you another complication and something else you need to do with a lot more responsibility. So I didn't know if you were going to talk, Michael. I didn't want to put you out there, but he took Alejos 101, and I'm very vested in with my community. So I got you, and I'm so sorry that this has happened to you, Andre. Anything else, guys? I am sorry because I kind of wish that it wouldn't be that way. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Oh my goodness. All right. I can't believe you guys have hung out with me for 2 hours. You guys deserve like everything. So remember, I'm giving this, let me put it back here so that you guys have it. This is part of a paid class. Okay? So you guys can't say anything. This is the getting to know you. For those of you who don't have godparents, please download that. Download that. It will give you a huge key for you to start. Like if you meet a potential godparent and you don't have Alejos 101 and you meet a potential godparent, at least you have this. I wanted to give you this as a gift. Oh, you're welcome, Isa. Okay. All right, guys. Anything else? I want to make sure that I've answered all of your questions. Anything that we covered is fine. Just ask away. What I might do for folks, I was thinking about this. Oh, I was thinking about it. For folks who purchase during this webinar, I am going to include, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I am going to include the Okunring or Beanring event. I can't believe I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. So for folks, because I love folks who just want to get started, that is going to tell you your role of a man and a woman on this traditions and how it relates to us. So if I see that you guys have it, you guys can totally have it. Oh, Michael, thank you. Okay, for those who want to send me a private message, let me actually put my, I am Omileti Olubumi on Facebook. Basically, you can find me. What you see there, Omileti Olubumi, find me on Facebook. Okay. Man, 5,000. I'm still shocked with that. Okay, so guys, remember, and you also have the Ori. For those of you who, OrishaWisdom.com. For those of you who want to begin to align your Ori, get that. Absolutely get it. Begin today. And like I said, while this webinar is still live, if I see that come in, I will give you what was an awesome 3.5-hour event of Okunring or Binring. This is your the roles of a man and the roles of a woman in the Yoruba traditions. And because this is my first webinar, you guys can have it. So, all right. Anything else? And yes, Andre, you can contact me as well if you want. Find me on Facebook, Omileti Olubumi. And if you have any other questions, absolutely. Okay. Anybody else? It's 3:09, guys. All right. Fantastic. All right, guys. So with that, thank you. So with that, I am going to end it the way that I usually end all of my podcasts. Odabo, and may the elevated ancestors and all of the Orishas bless you immensely. I really do wish the best for your journey. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you super much. All right, let's see.